DOMS, aka delayed onset muscle soreness, is something that many weightlifters know all too well. That soreness usually occurs maybe a day or two after your session, but why do we experience this feeling? Muscle fibers are damaged during training, especially during the eccentric portion of the movements. As a result of mechanical tension, the body initiates an inflammatory response to protect the damaged tissue. This gives us the sensation of soreness and discomfort, so you're less likely to train again when you're sore. Whilst this feeling may be a sign that you have muscle damage as a result of training, they're not necessarily an indicator for productive sessions. New exercises at the start of a new routine, even at lower intensities, will often result in more severe DOMS, and any full movement really will give you that feeling. Frequent changes in exercises with the aim of shocking the muscles will likely give you more DOMS. However, this approach isn't necessarily conducive with progress, as it's very hard to track and monitor improvement. Following a set program will allow your body to adapt to the training stimulus. After a few weeks, you should then find that post-exercise DOMS are less severe. Training at a low intensity maybe for the first couple of weeks will limit the severity of DOMS. But just because you have soreness after training doesn't mean that you haven't produced any muscle damage. However, if you are never experienced any soreness after training, you may not be taking your sets close enough to failure. Whilst this may be okay for strength and performance athletes, it's not ideal when the goal is hypertrophy. How do you recover from DOMS? You avoid training that area for a day or two until it's fully recovered. Low intensity exercises which encourage blood flow will help alleviate soreness. Massages, foam rollers, and massage guns. The key takeaway is that it's a byproduct of training, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're making great progress. When you experience DOMS, avoid training that area for a day or two, but keep active is a great way to reduce discomfort and encouraging blood flow to the vitiated muscles. So that soreness in general is good to feel, every now and then, but however, you don't always feel it. I don't always feel sore after I've trained in a weight training session, even if I've completely gone all out on it, but it can be a good sort of indicator that you are training closer to failure in some cases. Now that soreness feeling, if you're doing maybe strength training, just focusing on lifting the weight rather than lowering the weight very slowly, then you're not going to get as much DOMS usually, even if you're going to close towards or maybe towards failure, and depending on how much volume you're doing on those high intensity sets. But generally, it's a sign that you need to recover as well, unless you're doing some kind of advanced training technique, like an overreaching week or something like that, which is more for advanced gym goers. Then it would make sense to maybe train again, but then you're going to take an extended period of time off of training in the future. That's totally fine. But generally, for most people, you shouldn't really be training that muscle group whilst it's still sore, because you're not recovered yet. So you're just going to create more and more muscle damage and not really adapt and benefit from the training that much. But it is a fairly normal experience to feel. However, just don't place so much stress on yourself if you're not feeling that soreness so much, and you don't need to really chase that soreness feeling, as long as you're going for progressive overload and lifting a little bit more week after week with an extra rep or some more weight. That's generally fine. You don't have to train to that point and experience this severe soreness that everyone always talks about. It doesn't mean you're necessarily doing anything wrong. If you've got any questions about DOMS, again, just put a comment below and I will get back to you.